Gunfire cracked through the silence before anyone could react. 1 second, the street was empty, just wind pushing dust across broken concrete. The next, bullets tore through the air, smashing into walls, shattering glass, and forcing the squad into instant chaos. She didn't think, she dropped. Her body hit the ground hard as rounds snapped inches above her head. Training took over before fear could even register. Crawl, cover, assess. "Contact! Contact!" someone shouted, but the voice was swallowed by the storm of gunfire. She rolled behind a half-collapsed barrier, her chest rising fast, pulse hammering in her ears. Dirt and debris rained down around her as another burst struck the wall. She pressed her back against it, gripping her rifle tighter. This wasn't right. The mission briefing had been clear: routine reconnaissance, in and out, no engagement expected, no heavy resistance. But this was a full ambush. "They were waiting," she whispered under her breath, the realization hitting harder than the bullets. She risked a glance over the edge. Shadows moved between buildings, fast, coordinated, closing in from multiple directions. Not random fighters. Organized, prepared. Too prepared. A sharp crack echoed nearby, and one of her teammates dropped. Her breath caught. "Move, move!" another soldier yelled, trying to pull him back, but more gunfire pinned them down. The street had become a kill zone. Her radio crackled in her ear. "Fall back! Regroup it!" Static cut the voice off mid-command. "No, no, come on!" She tapped the device, adjusting the channel. Nothing but white noise. Comms were down. She scanned again, forcing herself to stay focused. Panic would get her killed, or worse, get someone else killed. To her left, smoke began to rise from a burning vehicle. The explosion must have hit their rear exit. The path they came from, gone. They were surrounded. A burst of gunfire snapped her back into the moment. Chips of concrete exploded beside her as she ducked lower. Think. Her eyes darted across the battlefield, searching for any sign of her squad. Movement. There. 2 soldiers sprinted between cover, trying to break through an alley. One made it. The other didn't. She clenched her jaw, forcing down the surge of emotion. There was no time to process it. Not now. Another voice came through her radio, faint and broken. "To anyone copy? We're split. Fall back north." North. That was something. She checked her position, quickly mapping out a route in her head. It wouldn't be easy. Open ground, minimal cover, but staying here meant certain death. She inhaled slowly, steadying herself. Then she moved. Pushing off the ground, she sprinted low, bullets chasing her footsteps. Her boots slammed against cracked pavement as she dove behind an overturned table, just as a burst ripped through where she'd been standing. Too close. Way too close. She didn't stop. Another dash, this time toward a narrow alley. Her lungs burned as she forced her body forward, ignoring the chaos behind her. As she reached the alley entrance, she glanced back for a split second. Big mistake. An enemy figure emerged from the smoke, weapon raised, tracking her movement. Their eyes met. Time seemed to slow. She fired first. 2 quick shots. The figure dropped. No hesitation, no second thoughts. She turned and pushed deeper into the alley. The noise of the battlefield dulled slightly as the narrow walls closed in around her. Her footsteps echoed now, each one sounding louder than it should. Too loud. She slowed, pressing herself against the wall, listening. Voices. Not hers. Enemy soldiers were moving nearby, closer than she expected. She crouched, controlling her breathing, every sense on edge. The alley split ahead, left or right. Another decision, another risk. She chose left. Carefully, she advanced, checking every corner, every shadow. The adrenaline was still pumping, but now something else crept in. Isolation. No friendly voices, no commands, no backup. Just her. She reached the end of the alley and stopped. The street beyond was empty, but it felt wrong. Too quiet. She stepped out slowly, scanning. A sudden noise behind her. She spun around, weapon raised. Nothing. Just silence. Her grip tightened. This wasn't just an ambush. It felt like a hunt. She moved quickly across the street and slipped into a partially destroyed building, the door hanging off its hinges. Inside, the air was thick with dust and darkness. For the first time since it started, she had cover. Real cover. She leaned against the wall, catching her breath, her heart still pounding like a war drum in her chest. "Think," she whispered again. She checked her gear. Ammo lower than she wanted. Radio still dead. No visual on her team. And worst of all, no idea where the enemy perimeter ended. A distant explosion shook the building, sending dust drifting from the ceiling. The fight was still raging out there, but here, it was quiet. Too quiet. She moved deeper inside, stepping over broken furniture and shattered glass. Every sound she made felt amplified. Then she heard it. Footsteps. Outside. Slow. Careful. Searching. Her body went still. They were tracking her. She lowered herself behind a broken wall, rifle ready, eyes locked on the doorway. Her breathing slowed, controlled, silent. The footsteps got closer. 1, 2, 3. A shadow stretched across the entrance. She tightened her grip, finger resting on the trigger. If they came in, she'd have one chance. Just one. The shadow paused. Silence. Then, it moved away. She didn't relax. Not yet, because deep down, she knew the truth. This wasn't over. Not even close. She was alone, behind enemy lines, with no way out. And somewhere out there, they were still hunting her.
The footsteps didn't fade completely. They lingered, circling, pausing, returning, like predators unsure of where exactly their prey had gone, but certain it was close. She stayed motionless behind the broken wall, muscles locked, rifle steady. Sweat traced slowly down her temple, but she didn't dare move to wipe it away. Silence wasn't safety. Silence was tension waiting to snap. A faint crunch echoed outside again, boots against gravel. Closer this time. Her breath slowed to a near stop. She shifted her weight just enough to get a clearer angle on the doorway, careful not to disturb the debris beneath her. Then a voice, low, foreign, calm. Another responded from a distance. They were coordinating. Her jaw tightened. They weren't rushing in blindly. They were searching methodically, clearing one space at a time. That meant one thing. They knew she was alone, and they knew she was still alive. Her eyes flicked briefly toward the back of the room. A narrow hallway led deeper into the building, dark, unstable, but possibly an exit, or a trap. Another step outside. Too close now. She had seconds to decide. Fight here or move. Her grip tightened on the rifle. Move. Slowly, carefully, she shifted backward, staying low, placing each movement with precision. Every piece of debris was a risk. One wrong sound and it would be over. Another voice outside, sharper now. They were getting impatient. Good. Impatience caused mistakes. She slipped into the hallway, the darkness swallowing her instantly. The air grew heavier, thicker with dust and decay. Her eyes strained to adjust, scanning shapes and shadows. Behind her, a sudden noise. The door creaked. They were inside. Her pulse spiked, but her body stayed controlled. She moved deeper into the hallway, her steps silent despite the urgency screaming in her head. Don't run. Running makes noise. Running gets you killed. She reached the corner and paused, pressing her back against the wall. The building groaned faintly around her, like it could collapse at any moment. Voices echoed from the front room now, closer, sharper. They were clearing it, piece by piece. Her mind raced. She needed a distraction. Something to pull them away, even for a few seconds. Her hands moved to her vest, fingers brushing over her gear. She found it, a small, throwable device. Not powerful, but enough. She glanced down the hallway ahead. Still dark, still unknown. No better options. She took a breath, then carefully placed the device near a pile of unstable debris at the edge of the corridor behind her. Timing would be everything. She slipped forward, putting distance between herself and the trap. 3 steps, 5, 10. Then, a sharp crack echoed through the building as the device triggered. Debris collapsed with a thunderous crash, dust exploding into the air. Voices shouted instantly, loud, urgent. Footsteps rushed toward the noise. Now, she moved, fast but controlled. She pushed through the hallway, emerging into another section of the building. A broken window at the far end revealed a narrow alley outside. Escape. But as she approached, she slowed again. Too easy. She crouched beside the window, peering carefully out. The alley was empty, but that meant nothing. Her instinct screamed caution. She scanned left, right. No visible movement. Still, something felt off. A faint sound reached her ears. Not outside. Above. She froze. A soft creak. Floorboards shifting. Her eyes lifted slowly toward the ceiling. Someone was on the floor above her. Watching. Waiting. Her grip tightened instantly. She stepped back from the window, heart pounding harder now. The building wasn't just a hiding place. It was a cage. A sudden crack split the air. Gunfire from above tore through the ceiling. Wood splintered, fragments raining down as she dove sideways, rolling across the floor. More shots followed, precise, controlled. They had her position. She fired back instinctively, 2 quick shots upward, forcing whoever was above to pull back. No time. She scrambled to her feet and lunged for the window. Glass shattered as she pushed through, landing hard in the alley outside. Pain shot through her shoulder, but she ignored it, forcing herself up immediately. Move. Always move. She sprinted down the alley, boots slamming against the ground now, stealth no longer an option. Behind her, shouting erupted again. They were coming. Fast. She turned a corner sharply, nearly slipping on loose gravel. Her breathing grew heavier, but she pushed harder, ignoring the burn in her lungs. Another turn, another narrow path. Then suddenly, she stopped. Dead end. A solid wall blocked her path. No, she whispered, spinning around. Footsteps echoed behind her now, closing in fast. Too fast. Her eyes darted across the walls, searching, calculating. There, a metal ladder bolted to the side of the building, leading up to the roof. No hesitation. She grabbed it and climbed, fast. Her muscles screamed, her hands slipping slightly on the metal, but she forced herself higher. Every second mattered. A shot rang out. A bullet struck the ladder just below her foot. Too close. She climbed faster. Another shot, then another. She pulled herself over the edge just as rounds hit the top of the ladder. Rolling onto the rooftop, she didn't stop. She scrambled up and moved immediately, keeping low as she crossed the uneven surface. The city stretched around her, rooftops, broken structures, smoke rising in the distance. No clear escape, just more danger. She reached the far edge and looked down. A drop. Not small, but survivable. Maybe. Behind her, voices again. They were climbing. She turned back toward the edge, her breathing hard, mind racing. Jump or fight? Then she heard something. A conversation below. Enemy soldiers. They were expected. The entire unit. No survivors. Her blood ran cold. Expected. This wasn't just an ambush. This was planned. Every detail. Every movement. Someone had set them up. Her fists clenched tightly. Betrayal. The word echoed in her mind like a gunshot, but there was no time to process it. The rooftop door behind her burst open. They had reached her. She stepped back toward the edge, her heart pounding, but her eyes steady now. No fear, just focus. She took one last breath and jumped. The impact knocked the air out of her lungs. She hit the ground hard, rolling across cracked concrete as pain shot through her side like fire. For a second, everything went white. Sound vanished, vision blurred, and her body refused to respond. Then instinct kicked back in. Move. She forced herself onto her hands, coughing, dragging in a sharp breath that burned all the way down. Her ears rang, but beneath it, faint, distant, shouting. They saw her jump. Of course they did. She staggered to her feet, one hand pressing against her ribs. Something wasn't right, either bruised or worse, but stopping wasn't an option. Not here, not now. She pushed forward into the narrow street ahead, her steps uneven but determined. Every movement hurt, but pain was secondary. Survival came first. Behind her, a gunshot cracked. The bullet struck the ground inches from her foot, spraying dust into the air. Too close. She broke into a run. Her body protested immediately, her breathing turning ragged, but adrenaline pushed her forward. She turned sharply into another alley, then another, forcing herself to stay unpredictable. Left, right, through debris, over broken crates. Don't give them a pattern. Don't give them a chance. Another burst of gunfire echoed behind her, followed by the sound of boots pounding the ground. They weren't giving up. They were hunting. Her vision flicked around constantly, searching for anything she could use: cover, distraction, escape. Then she saw it. A partially collapsed structure ahead, its walls barely standing, shadows stretching deep inside. Risky, but everything was. She darted inside without slowing. The air changed instantly, cooler, thicker with dust. Light filtered in through cracks above, casting jagged patterns across the floor. She moved deeper, slowing just enough to control her breathing. Listen. Bootsteps rushed past outside, voices confused. Good. She had bought herself seconds, maybe more. She leaned briefly against a broken pillar, her chest rising and falling hard. Her hand pressed against her side again, and this time she felt it. Wet. She pulled her hand back slightly. Blood. Great, she muttered under her breath, her jaw tightening. Not deep, not fatal, but enough to slow her down, enough to matter. A sudden noise snapped her attention back. Inside, not outside. She froze. A faint shift of debris somewhere deeper in the building. She wasn't alone. Her grip tightened on her rifle as she turned slowly, scanning the shadows. Every corner looked like movement. Every sound felt amplified. "Come on," she whispered, barely audible, forcing her focus sharper. Another sound, closer this time. A figure moved between the broken walls. Enemy. He hadn't seen her yet. She didn't hesitate. 2 controlled shots. The figure dropped instantly. The sound echoed louder than she wanted. Too loud. Outside, voices reacted immediately. They heard that. "Contact inside," someone shouted. Her time was up. She moved again, pushing deeper into the structure, ignoring the pain flaring in her side. Her mind worked fast, mapping exits, options, risks. Ahead, light, an opening. She reached it and stepped through, only to stop cold. A wide open space stretched before her. No cover, no hiding, just exposed ground leading to another block of buildings in the distance. And behind her, they were coming. Fast. She turned back for a split second, seeing shadows moving at the entrance. Decision time. Run the open ground or get trapped inside. Her jaw clenched. Run. She burst forward. The moment she stepped into the open, gunfire erupted behind her. Bullets tore through the air, snapping past her ears, striking the ground around her. She zigzagged instinctively, forcing her body to keep moving despite the pain. Her lungs burned. Her legs felt heavier with every step, but she didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Halfway across, a shot hit her. Not direct, but close enough. The force knocked her off balance, sending her crashing to the ground. Pain exploded through her shoulder. She cried out, but forced it down immediately, rolling onto her back and scrambling behind the smallest piece of broken concrete she could find. Breathing hard, she checked herself quickly. Shoulder, hit, but not clean through. Still usable. Barely. "Stay in the fight," she whispered, gritting her teeth. Gunfire continued, tearing into the ground around her cover. It wouldn't hold for long. Think. Her eyes scanned wildly, then locked on something. To her right, a damaged vehicle, fuel leaking. Her mind clicked instantly. Risky, but it could work. She took a breath, ignoring the chaos, focusing everything into one moment. Then she leaned out and fired. 1 shot, 2, 3. The bullets struck the ground near the leaking fuel. A second of silence. Then, explosion. Flames erupted violently, flames bursting outward, smoke swallowing the area instantly. The shockwave hit her, but she used it. She moved. Pushing through the smoke, she ran again, disappearing into the chaos she had just created. Behind her, shouting turned into confusion. They lost visual. Good. She didn't stop until she reached the next line of buildings. Inside again, back into shadows. Her body finally slowed, collapsing against the wall as her strength began to fade. Her breathing was rough now, uneven. Her vision flickered slightly. Blood loss, exhaustion, everything was catching up. For a moment, just a moment, she closed her eyes and the battlefield disappeared, replaced by memory, training grounds, early mornings, the voice of her instructor echoing clearly. Your body will fail before your mind does. When that moment comes, you decide who wins. Her eyes opened again, sharp, focused. Not done. Not yet. She pushed herself off the wall, ignoring the pain screaming through her body. One step, then another. She moved deeper into the building, searching for a way out. Any way out. But as she reached the far side, she stopped, frozen. Because what she saw made her blood run cold. More soldiers, waiting, blocking every exit. Her trap had worked. Only halfway, because now she wasn't being chased anymore. She was surrounded.
They stepped out of the shadows one by one. Rifles raised, eyes locked on her. No rush, no panic. They knew she had nowhere left to go. For a moment, everything went still. Her chest rose slowly, painfully. Her shoulder throbbed. Blood had soaked into her sleeve, dripping steadily onto the cracked floor beneath her boots. This was it. No more running, no more hiding. Just one final choice. Her eyes moved across the room, counting. 1, 2, 5, 8. Too many, even for her. A voice broke the silence, calm, controlled. Drop your weapon. She didn't respond. Her grip on the rifle tightened slightly instead. The soldier took a step forward, weapon steady. You're done. Done. The word echoed in her mind, but something inside her refused to accept it. Not like this. Not here. Her breathing slowed, her mind sharpened. If this was the end, she would decide how it happened, not them. Her eyes flicked, quick, almost invisible, toward the side of the room. A broken wall, cracked support beams. Unstable. A plan began to form. Dangerous, uncertain, but it was something. And right now, something was enough. She shifted her stance slightly, masking the movement as exhaustion. Her fingers adjusted on the rifle, not to fire at them, but at the structure behind them. The soldier noticed the movement. Don't. Too late. She fired. 3 rapid shots, not at the enemy, at the weakened beam. For a split second, nothing happened. Then, a deep crack echoed through the building. The ceiling above groaned violently. Dust exploded into the air. What? The structure gave way. With a thunderous collapse, debris crashed down between her and the soldiers, splitting the room in chaos. Concrete, wood, and metal slammed into the ground, blocking their direct path. Shouts erupted instantly. She didn't wait. She moved. Turning sharply, she sprinted toward the only gap left open as the building continued to shake around her. Pain screamed through her body with every step, but adrenaline drowned it out. Behind her, gunfire, blind, panicked. They couldn't see her clearly through the dust. Good. She burst through the exit, stumbling into open air again. Smoke drifted across the ruined streets, mixing with the dust cloud behind her. She didn't stop, couldn't stop. Every second mattered now. Her vision blurred slightly, her strength fading faster than before. Blood loss, exhaustion, injury. It was all catching up. But she kept moving. One step, then another, then another. Each one heavier than the last. Her radio crackled suddenly. Faint. Broken. But there. Any? Unit? Copy? Her heart jumped. She grabbed it instantly, pressing the button with shaking fingers. "This is Alpha." Her voice came out rough, barely holding together. She swallowed hard and tried again. "This is Alpha. Anyone copy?" Static. Then, signal. Weak. Repeat. "I'm alive," she said quickly, forcing strength into her voice. "I'm alive and surrounded. Need extraction. Coordinates unknown. Enemy all around." Silence. A long, painful silence. Then, hold. Position. The signal cut. "No, no, come on." She tapped the radio again, but it was gone. Still, it was something. Someone heard her. She leaned briefly against a wall, her breathing uneven now, her legs threatening to give out. Hold position. Easy to say, hard to do when the enemy was closing in again. Voices echoed in the distance. They were regrouping, faster than she hoped. Her eyes scanned the area quickly. No perfect cover, no safe zone. But there, a narrow passage between two damaged structures, hidden enough, defensible. She forced herself towards it, every step a battle now. Her body screamed for rest, but her mind refused to listen. Not yet. She reached the passage and dropped behind a low barrier, her rifle still in her hands. This was it, her last stand. She checked her ammo. Not much left. She exhaled slowly, steadying herself. Time stretched. Seconds felt like minutes. Then, footsteps. Approaching. Voices, closer now. They had found her again. Of course they had. She adjusted her position slightly, lining up her angle, controlling her breathing. No fear, just focus. The first figure appeared at the edge of the passage. She fired. One shot. Clean. The soldier dropped instantly. The others reacted. Gunfire erupted, tearing into the barrier, sending fragments flying. She stayed low, returning fire in controlled bursts. Every bullet mattered. Every move counted. The firefight intensified, echoes bouncing through the narrow space, smoke filling the air. Her vision blurred again. Her arms felt heavier, slower. Another enemy moved into view. She fired, missed. Too slow. A shot came back. It grazed her side, sending a sharp wave of pain through her body. She clenched her teeth, forcing herself to stay conscious. Not yet. Not like this. Her grip tightened one last time. Then, a new sound cut through the chaos. Different. Louder. Closer. Rotor blades. Her eyes widened slightly. Above, through the broken skyline, a helicopter. Low. Fast. Incoming. The enemy hesitated. Just for a second. But that second was enough. Gunfire from above rained down, precise, overwhelming. The soldiers scattered, breaking formation, retreating under the sudden assault. She didn't move. Couldn't. Her body finally gave in, slumping back against the wall as the fight shifted away from her. The helicopter hovered overhead, dust and debris swirling violently around her. Ropes dropped. Figures descended quickly, fast, efficient, friendly. Finally. One of them reached her, dropping to a knee. "We're safe. We've got you." Safe. The word barely registered. Her grip on the rifle loosened at last, the weapon slipping from her hands as the tension drained from her body. They lifted her carefully, securing her for extraction. As she was pulled upward, the battlefield shrank beneath her, the chaos, the fire, the destruction, all of it fading. Her eyes grew heavier, but just before they closed, she looked down one last time. She'd walked into that battlefield with a team and walked out alone. But she walked out. Against every odd, against every trap, against everything. Darkness finally took her, but not as defeat, as survival. because she didn't just endure the crossfire, she conquered it.